Hey everyone, welcome to Tiny Studio Big Ideas podcast, where we look at things greater than the tiny space or the large space that you are creating your artwork in. These have to do with ideas, thoughts, the process of creativity, and anything else that lights the fire in this tiny studio space. So today I want to talk about some different ways that we are able to come to our paintings. I'll speak about paintings because that's what I do in a way that helps feed our creativity. Let's say you are working on a painting and maybe it's a commission, so you have to do it, right? But you're not inspired and it's not moving forward and you're losing interest and it's just not lighting up that spark within you that gets you excited to paint and to create. What do? I have a usual set of options in my world. One of them is to just paint something else, to work on something that does inspire me, something that does make me excited. And then I will also clean, which seems to be another area that works well for me. If I just get out of the studio, leave it all here, go and clean the house, cook a meal, take the day off, do something completely different. Oftentimes I can come back in later on in the day or the next day and continue my painting, and often find that there is a new spark, a new interest. Cleaning just does that for me. And no, I am not one of those clean freaks. I'm very, very, very average. But cleaning does seem to have the effect of putting things in order, not only in my physical home, but in my inner creative home as well. And so I find that is a very, very helpful practice. And for those of you who are not into the whole cleaning thing, neither was I for many, many years. And I came across flylady.net, at least that's what it was called back in the day, where we would get these emails on learning how to come at cleaning the house on a daily basis, but not doing these wild, massive dive into cleaning where you're cleaning all day and at the end of the day your house looks great, but you're exhausted. And then the next day your house still looks great, but things are starting to pile up again. And then the third day and fourth day and fifth day, and a week later, your home is the way it was the day that you decided to do this huge, massive cleaning. So what Fly Lady does is she teaches people like me. I used her. I thought it was a fabulous program. It probably was the only thing that helped me get out of that idea of perfectionism and just be good enough. You hear me talking about good enough. And good enough saved me as far as the cleaning thing goes. So I'm going to go somewhere with this. So I latched on to the Fly Lady thing, which is you get up in the morning, you take 15 minutes and you do these basic things, this morning routine. And then you do before bed routine. And I found that slowly just by doing these two things, that my house was always looking fine. Was not one of those clean, scrubbing the toothbrush around the corners of the windowsill, but it was clean and presentable, and I was getting rid of extra junk, decluttering, and my home began to be a more beautiful space for me and my family as well. I took this idea and moved it into my studio, into my inner studio, my painting practice area. So in that sense, being consistent with my morning routine and, my daily routine, I spend most of my day here in the studio, latching on to good enough, I am able to get through and get over any kind of creative blocks that might be happening. So just stepping out of the studio, cleaning up the house, putting things back in place, taking care of maybe one or two things that I have left behind, then coming back into the studio, there is a sense of refreshment because I have taken care of things, so I get that immediate satisfaction. And in my inner home, in my inner creative channel, there is a sense of space and a decluttering. There's just not a lot of junk in there anymore. My mind has settled down, and I am more present and more open to this creative flow that's always available to us. So I may come back into the studio and start painting again. There's also, with this whole Fly Lady thing, is I may come in and just do 15, 20 minutes. Say, okay, I'm going to mix this color and I'm just going to paint this shadow area of the dog portrait that I'm working on, let's say, on this commission. And that is what I'll do. And oftentimes, just giving myself the 15 minutes to do only this part of the painting will ignite full-blown creativity flowing through me once again, and I get lost in the painting, and there I go, and it's all done. Oftentimes, if that doesn't work, I will pull out a piece of canvas paper or watercolor paper and put some gesso on it, and then either get the watercolors out or the acrylics. I don't usually do oil paintings for these types of things, where I connect with whatever that feeling is. If it's being stuck, like I'm just stuck, oftentimes I will just put down shapes. It's an abstract kind of thing, and I will just put down shapes, and my shapes for being stuck are usually rectangles and boxes and hard lines. And I just may do a little painting of that and nothing more. I'll take the little painting, I'll take it to the fireplace, and I will let go of that stuckness that I have visually created on that paper and burn it, let it go. Sometimes I'll keep them. Sometimes they can be interesting reminders for when I am doing an abstract painting, to look back and get that feeling again and recreate it in a different form, in a different way. So yesterday I was teaching I have a wonderful student. Her name is Kelly. And she's a young artist and finding her own creativity, her own creative channel, and working through it and beginning to understand how she works, how her creativity expresses itself through her. And we are working on a painting, which she wasn't very excited about. She didn't like the scene very much. It was a landscape painting. It is a landscape painting. And she wasn't very excited about it from the start. And we talked about it, and I said, okay, well, paint it anyways. The focus is on painting water. So there is a stream in this landscape with a little red barn and some hills in the background and things like that. And she committed to doing it. And the point was to begin to paint water, to understand how water reflects, and also water can be similar to, let's say, a glass of water. So you can oftentimes see down to the floor of the stream bed or the sea or in the lake. And then further out, there is that reflective surface. So as she's painting this little painting and working on it, she's not liking it. It's not vibing with her. She's not connecting to her creativity in this particular example. And she went to the art store. She was going to go pick up some paints and some brushes and just, kind of look around and get whatever she needed. And she saw this oval canvas. And she got the inspiration and said, I'm going to paint it on this oval canvas just to kind of shake it up. She got excited about the idea of painting it on an oval canvas. So she bought it and took it home and started her painting. Now, this is something that I personally have never done. I have never thought about it. It just never was an option in my mind. I had just never thought about that. Perhaps because I am on this little tiny Greek island and we have no art stores. But I think even if I were at an art store, I wouldn't think about that as an option. So she brings her oval canvas home and she begins painting. And she got excited about the painting. And she's doing a lovely job on the painting. And not only is she doing a lovely job on the painting, but I am learning something from her. And so I'm going to add that onto the list of things to do when you feel creatively stuck, or if you're not excited about what you're working on. If you're doing a commission, you probably won't go and do it on an oval canvas if it has been commissioned for a certain size, a portrait or landscape mode. But you could use an odd-shaped canvas to do a study of the piece that you're working on and just rev up your creativity that way. Oftentimes, to reconnect to that creative flow, all we really need is to do something completely different, which will spark those inner fires and be like, ooh, what can we do with this? It's the same thing as getting back in touch with that inner child that just wants to try something new, that gets excited at the possibility of things. And that's what our creativity does. It is that energy of yes, ooh, yes, let's try that. Some other things that I usually talk about, and I have in earlier podcasts, is journaling. Journaling for me is oftentimes very, very helpful to at least giving voice to those thoughts in my mind. And if I can just give voice to those thoughts, oftentimes, my ego will settle down, my mind will clear away, and I'm more comfortable being the fly on the wall and allowing the day to happen and just observing how things are moving, what is happening within me, and just being there to watch. The last thing that I do, which always seems to work, is go down to the sea for a cold water swim. And the act of diving into this cold winter water immediately calms the mind. It immediately brings you into the present moment. It's like a supercharged plug-in to a deep kind of meditation. It just happens because your body is reacting to the cold and getting rid of all the extra junk. So a cold water swim will always result in feeling wonderful and feeling opened and alive and ready to bring in and play with more creativity. So those are the things that I do. I haven't got anything else. There are some times where I just shut down and do nothing. Maybe I'll just read a book. Maybe I'll go see people, take a break and go up into the mountain village and spend some time with my mom and friends up there. And just taking a break for a day or two is often enough on its own. So those are the things that I do. Creativity is always available. It is oxygen, which is always there, just waiting for your next breath. Creativity works in the same way. When we clear out space in our minds, this constant thinking and judging and criticizing and throwing mud at, when you clear those things away, you're able to connect with your awareness, your inspiration, your communication, with your heart area. You connect with your determination and the willpower that you will put forth. You connect with the creative flow that's happening within you as you are creating your painting. And you connect with your birth channel of this creativity coming out into the world. It's a pretty simple process once you understand it and get a very strong sense of it. In your cells, right, or in your bones, that it is It is this way. And you can find that the same process happens in everything that we do. Everything, every thought, every idea, every nasty, angry word that's coming out of your mouth is all coming from the same kind of passage, the same channel, the same road. It all travels down the same kind of thing. So we have the choice of opening to it, understanding it, before we spit out the nasty, angry words at someone, and to, again, release it to wherever it came from, or bring it down and pass it through us and create it, manifest it. There really isn't anything more to being a creative being than that. Your breath, your inhale, and your exhale still runs along that same basic roadmap. So it seems to me that it works well, and I loved Kelly's idea of buying an odd-shaped canvas, something that she's not usually painting on, just for something different, just to try it out, just to spark her interest, her energy, her curiosity. And there you go. So that's about it for today. Thank you for listening all the way through. I love to have you here. I love to hear your comments and things that you are working on, what you are working through. If you have a different kind of way of getting yourself over creative blocks, I'd love to hear about that. Maybe I can learn something from you, and we can, talk about it and work on it a little bit, and I'd love to try it out. So with that, be inspired, be creative, be you. Have a beautiful day, everyone.